folks, let's get into this Oregon Ducks and their dominant win over the Minnesota Gophers. I know it's a day late. Sue me. Okay, I was sick the other night, but I definitely wanted to get in and talk about this game because it was a Friday night spectacular at Autzen Stadium, and Oregon came out firing on all cylinders, I don't pronounce that word, cruising to a 42-13 victory that improved their record to 9-1. This wasn't one of those nail biters like their last game against Iowa. No. This time the Ducks built an early lead and never looked back, showcasing how balanced and explosive this team can be. But before we get into it any further, please do like and subscribe to the Big Ten Huddle. Helps us create more great content for the Oregon Ducks, the Oregon football team, by letting you know you are watching. And we love to make videos about every Big Ten football team, I'm going to be honest, we do cater a little bit more to the teams that show us the most love. So watch the videos of your team. We're going to keep making more videos about your team. Now, let's get back to the game, as I'm excited to talk about how you've got to start with Dante Moore in this one. What a night for the redshirt sophomore, that is. He completed 27 of 30 passes for 306 yards and 2 touchdowns, setting a Oregon single game completion percentage record at 90%, surpassing even Marcus Mariota. Moore was locked in from the jump, starting with 3 completions and then ripping a streak of 12 completions, 7 in 5 straight. He spread the ball to 10 different receivers, hitting deep shots, quick strikes on the move, and precise red zone throws, even with a visor affecting his depth perception and stuff like that. I know that was something that some people were concerned about. He adapted seamlessly in this one. This performance was a reminder of why he's considered a first-round NFL talent. He's got the poise and the accuracy that can elevate an entire offense, and honestly, it's no surprise with Will Stein as your offensive coordinator. He's one of the best in the country, if not the best. And with clear skies at Autzen, it was the perfect stage for Oregon's passing game to shine after some weather challenged outings that they've had, Wisconsin and some of those. But speaking of the passing catchers, let's talk about the tight end who really carried this one. That's one Kenyon Sadiq, and especially with injuries sidelining key wideouts like DeCorian Moore and Gary Bryant Jr. Kenyon Sadiq, back after missing the Iowa game with a nagging injury, had a career day. 8 catches, 96 yards, and a touchdown reception. He was questionable coming in. He was not questionable about how well he played in this one, because after a solid week of practice, he looked fresh and explosive, hauling in every single target he had, nearly cracking 100 yards, a rarity for Oregon tight ends. Jamari Johnson, he wasn't far behind either. A lot of great tight end play in this one. As he tied his career high, with 4 grabs for 57 yards, showing off his athleticism after the catch. Even Roger Salapagaga, I believe that's how you pronounce it, got in on the action with his first 2 collegiate receptions for 25 yards. Together, the tight ends accounted for 14 catches, 178 yards, and a score. I mean, what can Will Stein not do? The offensive coordinator, Will Stein, dialed up more 2 tight end sets than usual, mixing in 12 and 21 personnel to keep Minnesota guessing. It was a very, very smart scheme by him, turning what could have been a weakness into a strength, improving this group's versatility. They're like extra wideouts who can also just maul dudes in front of them in the blocking game, or in the run blocking game. On the ground, Oregon's running game was just as potent as it always is, racking up 179 yards and 4 touchdowns against the Minnesota defense that came in ranked 21st nationally, allowing about 108 yards per game. But Noah Whittington led the way, 72 yards on 8 carries, including 40-yard touchdown bursts in the second quarter. Jordan Davison added 57 yards on 7 totes for 2 scores, pushing his season total to 12 rushing touchdowns, and that puts him best among the top freshmen in Big Ten history, just 6 shy of Royce Freeman, the Oregon freshman's record. Which, by the way, can we just talk for a minute about how teams, I think the main one was Ohio State, but other teams also kind of went away from Jordan Davison because, he came in overweight and fat, I guess some fans called him. What a stupid thing. Jordan Davison has been fantastic this season, blocking, running, whatever you ask him to do, he's able to do it. Fantastic stuff. Now, Jay Harris chipped in a 19 yards with his first Duck touchdown, a 12-yarder in the fourth. The backs averaged 6 yards per carry overall, setting up play action passes and keeping the Gophers off balance. Early on, the run game matched the passing yards passing 4 yards. Matched the pass yard for yard, with 120 rushing yards in the first half alone. This unit is built for the long haul. Folks, physical, explosive, and ready to play football up front. The offensive line deserves a ton of credit for making it all possible. This is the best offensive line in the country, in my opinion, and they were similarly finalists for the Joe Moore Award for a reason, and against Minnesota, they mauled despite some tweaks. With Alex Harkey back from an ankle injury, the Ducks flipped their guards, Emmanuel Pregnon to the right and Luli on the left for more snaps. Sorry, making a lot of these videos. I eventually cough it up. But it worked beautifully, providing solid protection, just one sack allowed and opening massive holes. And that's huge for a Minnesota team that has gotten 6 or more sacks a couple times this season in a game. Pregnon, who's got a case as the nation's best guard, has an elite PFF grade, offered extra support next to Harkey, and the line didn't miss a beat, paving the way for that balanced attack that totaled 510 yards on offense. Defensively, Oregon was suffocating, holding Minnesota to just 200 total yards, 62 on the ground, at a measly 2.6 yards per carry. The front line set the tone, and 19 run stops and constant pressure on quarterback Drake Lindsey, who managed only 138 passing yards in this one because the defense was all over him and they were all over his receivers. Blake Purchase led with 3 stops, and the group limited big plays aside from one 23-yard run by Darius Taylor. I believe it was a run. Maybe it was a catch. One of those two. Mateo Uiagalelei and the edge rushers kept Lindsey uncomfortable, even if the sack total was just 2. At linebacker, Bryce Boucher played a team-high 54 snaps and led with 6 tackles, while Jerry Mixon added support. Freshman Braden Platt saw a career-high 8 snaps and looked explosive, picking up 2 tackles as well. The safety rotation opened up a little bit too, as Kingston Lapoy and Peyton Woodyard both getting double-digit snaps for the first time in weeks, combining for 5 tackles. It was encouraging to see depth players step up and get without a drop-off. And that's not, to forget the freshman corner, Brandon Finney Jr., who has not looked like a freshman all season long. Minnesota tested him with him more than any team so far this season, throwing his way 5 times in the first half alone. He allowed just 1 big catch, a 26-yarder, and drew a pass interference. But overall, he locked it down in bringing his season stats to national leading 7 completions allowed on 28 targets for 68 yards. Teams keep challenging him, and he keeps winning all in all. This was a complete performance by Oregon, dominated both lines, adapting to the injuries, and showed playoff caliber balance. They scored on their first 2 drives, built a 28-6 halftime lead, and coasted from there on out. With USC coming up next, the Ducks looked primed to keep rolling. I'm personally going to pick the Ducks to win that game. I'm just going to put it out there right now. But comment below and give me your thoughts. And please do like and subscribe for more great Oregon football content. This Oregon team is super underrated by the national media. I can't believe they dropped in the AP poll after beating Iowa. I know it's probably because of like the college football playoff rankings and all that stupidity there. But they're just showing how stupid they are. And honestly, the college football playoff committee is pretty stupid too for having them as low as they are. Behind Ole Miss, behind Texas Tech, no. This Oregon team is so much better than that, and it's honestly disgusting at this point that they feel like the Ducks are not national title contenders, because they certainly are. They for sure are national title contenders, and arguably they're better than they were last year. I said they were just a few steps back in the power rankings show, but honestly, when you look at this team and how complimentary they are and what Will Stein has done with this offense, they might be better than they were last year. I don't know. We're going to have to figure it out when the time comes. This team could make a deeper run in the playoffs than they did last year. We'll see. It's going to be really fun to see. I'm excited to see the Ducks make the playoffs and make some noise there as well. Have a good one, everyone.